Greetings and salutations one and all. Welcome to the night shift. It's a brand spanking new week. It's a brand spanking new month right here on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stewart's Community and Finance Night. How you doing? Big ups to each and everyone locked in right now. Those locked in on TuneIn Radio, the night shift with DJ Kevin Stewart. Across the pond, One Harmony Radio. Top of the morning to you guys over there in the UK. I know some of you are up and at this early hour over there in the UK. I want to say big ups to those on WGLRO, home of the Donny Walker Morning Show, taking you from the sheets to the streets on the People's Station, touching from Detroit to Denmark and all points in between. Big ups to you guys over there. Those on PEMGTV.com, welcome. And of course right here at the home of the night shift, the DJ Kevin Stew, kevinstew.com. Glad to have you. Couldn't do it without you. You have my word. I wouldn't even try. Kicking it up with a little China Nicole.
It is time for us to make peace and stop the fighting. One love, one unity, got to break the bondage. No more borders around me, no more mental slavery. Bob Marley said it best, stand together and feel alright. But if we fight, let it be for justice. And if we war, let it be for justice. At all costs, let it be for justice. Do what is right, let it be for justice. Let it be for justice. Let it be for justice. No matter what it costs, let it be for justice. Let it be for justice. Inequity, disparities, and violence, oppression, racism. No, I won't be silent.
I want to say a special hello to Dr. J Love.
Free us from we will thrive, prosperity. Marcus Garvey said it best, none but ourselves can free your minds. But if we fight, and if we want, let it be for justice. At all costs.
For those of you who are new to the night shift,
Do what is right.
Healthy Love exists because of Dr. J Love.
Justice. Let it be for justice. Let it be for justice. No matter what it costs, let it be for justice. 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 No matter.
I want to say thanks to Pulse Media Group for sponsoring this segment of the show.
Be for justice.
When being in the moment is priceless,
From royalty.
give Pulse Media a call. They provide innovative streaming and recording solutions, and they do so much more. Everything you see right here on kevinstew.com.
Create the franchise.
Hosting your website, creating your
I'm
website,
so sick of these
providing streaming services, whether it is just an event that you're doing or something like this. Yeah, like my show. And if you want to take it a step further and have your own internet broadcasting stations, give Pulse Media a call. 754-999-6020 or visit them at pulsemg.com. Thanks to Althea and her Healing Heavenly Hands also. Althea SU is a licensed massage therapist operating out of Broad County, North Miami-Dade, and South Palm Beach counties. She comes to you. Her only request, outside of paying her, is that you get her off her table when she's done. Go sleep somewhere else. Give her a call, 954-655-9000, or email her fairlater@att.net. I want to say big ups to Reggae Global Entertainment also. They'll be your booking agents, provide tour management, take care of your copyrights, publishing, trademarks, marketing and promotion. Give them a call, 954-998-8034. Or you can give them a visit at reggaeglobalentertainment.com. Of course, you can also say thanks to GMAT Music Solutions, bringing your events to life. GMAT Music Solutions provides sound, light, stage production services, musical equipment, PA systems, audio engineers, DJs, bands, musicians, singers. Give them a call, 754-307-GMAC.
Let it be for justice.
At 754-307-4622. Or visit them at gmatmusicsolutions.com.
For justice.
You can also do your online shopping there.
Justice. Let it be for justice. No matter.
So thank you to my segment sponsors, Pulsey Media Group,
Let it be for justice.
Healing Heavenly Hands,
Let it be for justice.
Reggae Global Entertainment, and GMAT Music Solutions.
Let it be for justice.
This is China Nicole. Track is called Let It Be for Justice. And as Marlon says, it's a song for the times. I want to say greetings and salutations to those tuning in on Facebook Live.
Let it be for justice. Let it be.
Yeah, this is just for a short time.
Justice. Let it be for justice. Let it be for justice. Let
Yeah, it's not an extended stay. Don't get too comfortable.
it be for justice. Let it be for justice. Why let it be for justice. Why let it be for justice. Let it be for justice. Why
In just a few minutes, we're gonna connect with our
the people.
star of the show for tonight.
Royalty. I wish so many of us can see
Boy, I've been so looking forward to this tonight.
the violence. Put the power in ourselves, create the franchise. And
Oh, I do want to say
overseas, I'm so sick.
welcome back to the Foundation Radio Network, ClintonLindsay.com. Hey, Linder!
Justice, no matter what it costs, let it be for justice. 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 No matter what it costs, let it be for justice. Let it be for justice. Why let it be for justice. Why let it be for justice. Let it be for justice. Why let it be for justice.
Yeah, we're gonna let it be for justice because, you know,
Streets.
there are some that are just fighting just because. And that's not what we're all about. We're not just fighting just because. We're not just trying to make a difference just because. We, you know, there are reasons behind these things. And as I connect with my guest for, well, the star of the show for tonight, who should be on the line right about now. Hello.
Hello, Kevin.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Look at it. She's here. She's here, ladies and gentlemen. She's here. I've waited, what, a month for this? Actually, it's longer than that. Ladies and gentlemen, without much further of an ado, I present to you the one who many of you have actually come here to hear, not me. And you won't be seeing her tonight. If you want to see her, you're going to have to make another kind of an effort. But, ladies and gentlemen, tonight I present to you none other than a most remarkable lady, Angela Asante-Armar. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much, Brother Kevin, for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, the honor is all mine. The honor is all mine. I have one of the individuals in the stew pot, one of the stew potters. And for those tuning in on any of the radio platforms, wondering what the stew pot is, others call it a chat room. You just go to kevinstew.com and you're there. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to sign up for anything. You're just there. And it is where we interact. Others call it a chat room. We're very fancy over here. It's the stew pot. We keep things bubbling right here. And Dr. J Love is in the stew pot. She is responsible for my Healthy Love segment, my Healthy Love show, which happens every Tuesday. It started with her just about 10 years ago. And she is here tonight on a Monday night just for you. When I say you, I mean you, Angela.
I was wondering. Wow, you're really giving me the golden season, huh?
Yeah, she's here for you. She's not here for me. She talks to me whenever she feels like it. I'm not that important. You, on the other hand.
Okay, no precedent.
Right, so, and big ups to Marlon, host of Real Rockers, reggae music entertainer extraordinaire. He has a show just before mine, 7 to 10, on various platforms on Mondays and Wednesdays. So, and all the other stew potters, welcome, welcome, welcome. She said she had to jump in for you, Queen.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, wait until she gets to really get to know you. Now,
Hey.
I've been waiting for this moment for quite some time. And you and I have been trying to work on making it happen. And I thank you, because it is very early where you are right now.
Yeah, just after 3 a.m.
Right. And so for those who can't really tell, you will find out right about now where Angela is and who Angela is. So, Madame, it's all yours.
Yes.
Who is Angela Asante-Armar?
So, thank you once again for having me on the show. It has been a while. We've been trying to work this out, but good things come to those who wait, right? So, if you can hear from the accent, I am based in, born and bred in London, in England, in the UK, where I am speaking to you right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I am originally from Ghana. My heritage is from Ghana in West Africa. And here in the UK, a number of things, I think you already mentioned. So I'm an attorney or a lawyer, really specializing in employment or labor law, I think you call them in the States. Mm-hmm. And I'm also an intuitive life and career coach.
Nice.
As well as being mum to 2 precious sons. Mm-hmm. And a number of other things that I do, including singing. And the conversation that we have been having is about my journey to relocate, basically to move with my boys to Ghana, where we're originally from, to live there. But to pursue a bigger mission of uniting, joining with, empowering my fellow mothers, the women. And I'm seeking to do that by contesting to become the president, the first female president of Ghana, the Republic of Ghana.
Yes, yes. I am so looking forward to that right there. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So,
you see, there are people in the stew pot already saying, hey, listen, welcome, Madam President.
why, thank you all. Thank you, one and all, for joining us.
Yeah, you see, there are people that are calling it, and quite rightly so. Because, well, by the end of the show, they'll see why they should really be in your corner and getting anyone that is anyone. If they know anybody in Ghana, everybody should have your name on their lips. Now, you mentioned being a life coach. How did that come about? When all right, before you do that, which one came first? Because you sing, you're a life coach, you're an attorney. And there's something else that you're very involved in. Power to Our Mothers Foundation. So, which one started first, and what came about as a result of what?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Wonderful. Yes. So, you want me to speak about the foundation first?
Well, I don't know which one came first. If it was the singing, the life coaching, the foundation, or being an attorney.
Okay, so let me give you the backdrop. So, actually, when you look at it like that, I would say singing came first.
Okay.
Singing is something I've always done as a child, more so in choirs, like different choirs. So music was my thing growing up. I used to sing and I played the violin in different ensembles, orchestras. So music was my thing, like from probably age 7, pretty much up until really age 18. So through all those years, I'd have violin lessons, go to choir, perform at, so this wasn't like church choir, this was like a music center that had lots of different groups. And we get to play and perform in, some quite decent performance halls over here, like the Barbican, the Queen Elizabeth Hall, the Royal Festival Hall. As a child, that's really cool. Yeah. So, and we'd get to travel.
Right.
So as playing part of the orchestra, we travel every year in the symphony orchestra, the top orchestra, we travel actually to Germany and we'd like to go on tour, So it was quite cool. It was a very social thing to do growing up. Yeah. And that's it's only been the last few years actually where that has become less about singing in choirs, but more about me finding my own voice and starting to write stuff, write songs, and performing for myself. So that's one aspect of me, and very much like a personal. It was a long journey to realize that actually singing it's not necessarily what I do; it's who I am, and I kind of do it for myself first.
Yeah.
Everyone has their thing. So singing is my thing. If everything is going haywire, it's usually because I stopped singing. So that's one way to reconnect to my who I am.
Right.
And so in the sequence, so the next really came me becoming an attorney. So I studied law actually before university. I kind of became curious about the law. It's something my mother had wanted to do, but she didn't go that far because she settled. She started having us, me and my siblings. And so I got curious about law, started studying before university. I thought, okay, this is interesting. Let me find out more.
Oh, you just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's not something that I necessarily. It's not something where like I always wanted to be a lawyer. It kind of
Right.
grew, and I thought, okay, I'm thinking it sounds so. Let me see what this is about. So when I started studying it, I thought, yeah, actually this is something that I would want to do. They had the ideal of wanting to help people, and this seemed a way in which I could do that. Being quite idealistic, like if you know the author John Grisham, like the street lawyer, you know, representing the little people, as it were. But what happened was, so I followed that all the way through. I studied, I trained, like I went to law school, then spent 2 years with a law firm, and I qualified as here we call a solicitor, which is one type of lawyer we have here. So and then I specialized in becoming an employment lawyer, a labor lawyer, because it's very accessible. Either hopefully you will work for someone or you will have someone work for you.
Right.
So for me, that was a very impactful and like easy to understand area to go into, and it has been very satisfying. And then next, I would say over the last, where are we now? Yeah, 5 or so years, I got into the coaching and took up the coaching side purely following like my own personal journey of wanting to gain greater awareness about myself. People say, either self-development or personal development, coming from a place where in my life where I was starting to question my purpose. I was happily married. I had my 2 boys. I had a good, respectable job, and yet things were quite stressful and deep. And at that time, it was like being on a treadmill and not being able to get off. When you're doing the same things over and over again.
Yeah, the hamster wheel.
Get to exactly.
Right.
I was on the hamster wheel, looking after the people in my life I'm supposed to look after, except myself. So at that time, I had stopped singing. Like I wasn't singing in a choir. I wasn't playing in the orchestra. For I think personal reasons, I was quite distant, I think, from my family at that time. So there was a lot going on where I felt quite isolated. So this then comes to the questioning about, well, life is supposed to be good for somebody like me, basically, but it wasn't. So having questioned the whole purpose, what am I supposed to be doing, I then, coincidentally, not, found my way into, a line of, what can I say, training, quite intense actually, but which is all about studying your consciousness. So studying the unconscious mind, the superconscious mind, and certainly because I really needed to place where I understood that I create my own reality in amongst other modalities. So that's where it put me, and it put me on the path of how can at this stage of my life, how can I be of service? Because we think that your purpose is like perhaps it's one thing and that's the only thing that you're ever here to do, when actually your purpose is multifaceted. There are different parts of it. So I would say, yes, it's my purpose to be in a loving relationship. It's my purpose to be a mother. It's my purpose to be, all the different things, being a singer. And the more you walk in line with your purpose, it evolves. So, more uncovers. So once you get, the closer you get to certain things, it's like, okay, now what's the next step? And so having gone through that journey and really have got into a place where people would recognize as being empowered and truly being empowered for me, because despite my profession, I was in a place where I felt quite powerless. And so finding out about what my journey had been, and the fact that we do actually have, like I say, the ability to influence and create our actual reality.
Mm-hmm.
That really started me on to think, oh, okay, so this is what I'm going through. Who can I pass this on to? That's my go-to. If I learn something, see something, hear something that has helped me or been of value, the immediate next thing for me is like, right, who can I give this to? Who can I,
right.
pass this on to? So that's what led me to then getting into the coaching. Because it's like, a lot of us, as humans, basically, can benefit from being in a place where no matter what is going on in the world, we know 100% there are things that we can control and there are things that we can influence and realize. So I started coaching at first both men and women.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became obvious just to work with women because of the relatability, my own journey. And that's what I would do. See them through a course where it's like, this is what you've done so far. Okay, so what's the next thing for you? And really, it's all about just helping somebody be accountable. So being accountable for what it is that they create and not feeling like a victim unless they choose to be like a victim, because
right.
we can all be in that state. So through all of that now, I got to the place where, well, okay, so I'm a mother and I'm going through these things. You think that, or some may think that, being here in the West, which is, here in the UK, born and bred, and the kind of life we live, they may just think, well, it's kind of normal. Yes, you have to hustle and bustle. You have to just get on with things. But there's times where I just think, my goodness, we're living life at like 150 miles an hour and wondering why, we're exhausted or our relationships are breaking down or our health is completely, deteriorated. And I looked at my own journey and the women around us. And what happened actually was 2 years ago, I literally had a dream. I think it sounds very much new to me, but I had a dream where my ancestors spoke to me, my foremothers. I'll say it's my foremothers actually, because it was literally just all the women in my family from my heritage, from my ancestors, and the dream was really just about how looking at where we are now in the world and how the condition of women and mothers particularly, and how we kind of move forward to improve our conditions, because wherever you look at in the world, whether it's the West, the East, wherever it is, the one common thing is that women seem to be seeking either gender equality or gender equity. And you just think, well, how can that be when statistically women are the majority of the human population, whether it's by 1, 2, whatever the percentage, but just about, we're the majority of the population, but somehow across the world over, we are seeking equality, or to be heard and to not be treated as inferior.
Right.
So with that dream, that came like the calling to go home, as I say. I literally go home to Ghana, and I didn't actually know what that was about at that time. That literally was 2 years ago, and it only became obvious within the past, even just under a year, where I think, I need to go. What am I going to do? And meeting other people who who were actually thinking like me, like I could stay where I am and continue working as I'm working, coaching and what have you. But this dream that I had really made me feel like, no, it's much bigger than that. Like when you have a problem, you need to go to the root of it and to deal with it and not just deal with the system. So my root is Ghana. So I'm like, right, go home and work with the women there to improve their condition. But it became obvious that there are so, I mean, I'm sure you relate when you're aware, there are so many women's initiatives in inverted commas or groups or projects. You know, there's so much being done across the world to try and improve the condition of women. Mm-hmm. Yet we, and don't get me wrong, we are doing amazing things. You know, always hearing stories of women innovating in some way or leading in some way, and we're still having a situation where, you know, especially with the pandemic we are in at the moment, lockdown. The stories that still go around of, you know, the increase in domestic abuse and sexual assault and all of these things, it's like, no, we still need to get to the root of the problem. So how do you do that? And what I had learned as part of this journey to self-awareness and things is that everything is about structure. Like, everything is about having structure in life. And I don't necessarily mean routine, but routine is good, but everything operates within some kind of structure. Like one analogy was, you know...
And it's not the same for everyone.
It's not. It's, well, right. it is and it isn't. When I say it is and it isn't, like, so, like personally, when I said I studied consciousness, so if I say we have two parts of ourselves, yeah, we have our ego. Some people will have a kind of general idea of what that means, and it's basically part of us that helps us survive. It literally is our survival mechanism. But we also have the other aspect of us, which is not limited, which some will call it our soul, our spirit, our higher self. That side, that's structural as well, and the things that we do within side of ourselves. But outside that, yes, structure can look different to other people. So my point about structure and going home and the work I want to do is that looking at the political structure as one that dictates the condition of the lives of its citizens. You know, and what better way? One of the, I guess, most impactful ways to impact people on a very wide basis than to be within the structure, so that you can then put in place your own structure, your own policies, your own system, which is going to help people thrive. And my focus is the mothers, and I say mothers and mother figures, basically women, because we're either mothers already or we have a motherly nature in terms of being reared to care for people. Right. It doesn't matter if it's just, you know, your spouse, it could be your parents, but that is what we're raised to do from day dot. You know, care for the people around you. And so
before you get too far into this, I'm going to say goodbye to Facebook Live. Those who are tuned in on Facebook, just jump on over to kevinstew.com. The link is right there. It's not hard to find. It's kevinstew.com. Just jump right in and you can continue with us. So see you guys over there in FB land. We continue on kevinstew.com. Okay, so looking at the mother, looking at the woman, when you started, let's go back to your journey a little bit.
Yes.
You said you started looking into yourself because there was something that is it that you weren't connecting to something, or just that you really felt that there was something more that you needed to do, which probably led to you working with, but you started doing the self work. So
I had to do the self. Yeah, I had to do the self work because I was completely depleted. So you know what I said? I was in this hamster's wheel.
right.
Yeah, I was. I was working. I think I was working full time then, and my family structure at the time was that I was the main breadwinner because my husband had health issues.
Right.
And so I was the main breadwinner, and and we had two boys as well. And so there was because of the health condition, there was a limit to what he could do to assist with the boys. So I was literally, getting up, getting the boys ready, maybe sorting out some things for my husband, dropping the boys at nursery, at school, going to work, getting the boys from school or after school club, nursery, come home, feed them, be with, feed my husband even, put the boys to bed. And there'll be times where I would put the children to bed and I would just fall asleep and then get up in the middle of the night and then realize that, there's still the dishes to do, you know?
Right.
So it literally was hardcore, just being on that hamster's wheel. So coming back to what you're saying, the driver was, like the question I was asking myself was, there must be, well, I'll say the question. What I was saying to myself was, there must be more to my life. Like there must be more to my life. And it took me a while to get that because in my personal character, but also being a mother and a woman, and when we look at maybe later just the conditioning that we have,
Yes.
Even asking that question, it triggers or it brings guilt because you're there and you think, but hold on, I'm happily married. I have these beautiful children. I have a really good profession. I have a roof over my head. So
basically, you're set as to society standards.
Exactly. So it's like I have all this stuff, but I am absolutely exhausted. I'm working really hard. I'm in debt. I was also in debt trying to manage not any mad schemes or anything, but literally just surviving with the family that I had at the time.
Right.
And I discovered later, like I wasn't even aware at that time, I discovered later that I was actually in depression, like I was depressed.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it was kind of a revelation to me later because being in it, we get taught to just and especially as black women, we just get taught it's like, no, you've got to be strong, you've got to go, you've got to keep going. You have people that depend on you. You don't have time to sit. You understand that
because
mentality?
That's the typical way that a woman, it is said, especially a black woman, is supposed to be. The black woman raises the family. If the man is not able to, as in the case of your husband not being well, she steps up and she just does. There are some that would say, that's my typical life every day. I do all this and I do and I do and I do. So what's the big deal? And I think what you have recognized at this point in your life, when you're really doing the self work, is that, well, it is a big deal. There is more, and it doesn't have to necessarily be this way.
Absolutely.
Got you.
Absolutely. I love the way you summarize that.
That's because I've been living it. That's why.
Okay, getting exactly. So you can recognize or relate to the fact that we're in a situation that society, our childhood, our training tells us to basically just suck it up and get on with it. Like, what are you belly aching about? You know?
Right.
And that's really destructive because, like I said, the place that I got to, fortunately, I didn't do anything crazy. Like, I didn't feel suicidal or anything like that. But the point was, it was the lowest point in my life, you know.
Right.
And it was, sometimes they say that, you know, you have to hit rock bottom before you can get up. Well, after you hit rock bottom, the only way is to, you know, the only way is
There's
outside.
nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, exactly. So it was the trigger, at least, for me to ask the question and like, no, this cannot be right. What is going on? You know, there has to be, like, life cannot just be like this. I'm
Right.
sorry, but I'm not willing to accept that this is the height of my life. And I was right. And so I went to find out about, like I said, doing the self-work. Like I said, it's so important in finding out about your ability as a creator. We talk about the creator, God, and with, no matter what, you know, your religious or other affiliations are, some people have an issue with or would only, if you like, give certain qualities to the creator. But I always remind myself and people that it's like, yeah, no matter what you believe, are we not, especially if you believe you are a child of God, then does that not make us baby gods? Which means we have creative ability, you know, we have without assuming, if you like, the most high position. But it's like, no.
Yeah, it's not being blasphemous or anything like that. You know,
exactly.
It's just recognizing that you serve a greater purpose than just being.
Yes.
And you have the power to do certain things. You have the power to manipulate the space in which you survive in, the space that which you occupy. And things and individuals that you touch in that space, you do hold the power, the ability to influence that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, for me, where I am in my stage in life now is that I just realized that this is the journey. Like, this is the human experience.
Right.
From my experience, from my perspective, you know, we are spiritual beings, and we come here to Earth for a human experience, like a pivotal experience. So when you look at it like that, that really helps me to just embrace everything that happens as just is. It's experience. You have the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between, you know. And you wouldn't be able to appreciate the good if there wasn't the bad. You wouldn't have the contrast.
Right.
You know? So as much as I say, yeah, that felt like my lowest point in my life, was the springboard for me finding out more and setting me on the path for which I am now. You see? So everything is contrast, you know, light and shade, however you want to call it. But yeah, it's so, I'm still fixed on what you said because it's so powerful and so true. This idea that, yeah, well, this is my life. What are you complaining of? And you see, that is exactly what I was talking about when I said, you know, we live a life and we think it's normal. It's not normal. Like, insanity has become normalized.
Funny enough, yes.
Go ahead.
That is so true. I was just agreeing with you. Yeah, it has. Dr. J Love says we are here to do more than take up space. It's funny. You're saying some things, and I'm hearing Dr. J Love's voice, because these are some of the conversations that we had from time to time, you know. And she said earlier, I didn't mention it to you, but she said you sound like her sister from another. Well, I would say a sister from another mister. She said a sister from another mother. But you do, you know, and Of course, people don't meet by accident. In my opinion, I really don't believe any.
Agreed.
No,
I agree.
there's none of us that meet and it's by accident.
Mhm.
So this was supposed to happen, and I hear things that you're saying, and I see myself in some of it. You know,
Mhm.
that recognizing that there's more to be done. There's more for me, the individual, to do. But in order for me to do it, I have to know who I am. I have to learn about me
Yes,
so that I can
absolutely.
understand. And I hear this journey coming out with what you're saying, that when you started doing the life coaching, because you recognized some of the things that kept you in this on this hamster wheel that wasn't getting you anywhere. So if you're not going
Yes.
anywhere, then you're not happy. The people that are in your direct circle, they won't be happy because you're not encouraging them at all.
Mhm.
So you end up in a perpetual cycle of gloom.
Yeah, literally, it was like that. um, so that is so powerful. Yes, and it took me a long time to learn. Well, I say a long time. I guess by the time I'm in my 40s now. So by the time I was going through this learning, which I'm still going through because we're always learning, always evolving.
Right.
Um, learning this idea that um, to be of service, you must be selfish. This
Please say that
concept
again.
of, yes,
Please say that again.
to be of,
Did I lose you? Oh my goodness. What happened to my connection? Okay, you're back. Yes. You said
I'm back, yeah.
to
So
be of service.
be of service, you must be selfish. And
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine no end of number of people would hear that. They're thinking, what do you mean? Being selfish, that's being, greedy or, self-serving. You're not thinking about other people. It's evil. It's wicked. I'm just saying some of the things that some people would probably think.
I can tell you, it
Where,
is
and
not the
I'm
regular
saying,
listeners to this show that would tell you that.
oh, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that.
Because
So,
I
but then,
encourage people to be selfish all the time.
oh, awesome. Yeah. So, like you said, this is not a chance meeting. We created this, so it's all good.
Yeah. Please go on.
Yeah. So, and I was just following on that with that. That's great because then if we have listeners that think of that, one of our small things that we do is to push that message out there that, yeah, to be of service, we must be selfish. Why? Because in many different ways it has been said, but it's like, if you want to influence your outer reality, it all starts from inside.
Mm-hmm.
So our experience that we're living, in some way is connected to our inner consciousness. It comes from inside. But then on a collective level, then yeah, what we experience in the world, that comes from our collective consciousness. But why they say, be the change you want to see, is that the change has to start with you and then it ripples outwards.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I still remember to this day, like the tension that I had, even because for me this started or continued by like attending, say, one day free workshop about how to unleash your genius and master your life. I think that's the one that I went to, and the next one that I went to. I just remember having the tension and the guilt that I had taking that time away from my children, away from my husband, and having that time for myself. Like, it was serious. I was just going to a course, but when I say that we are powerful and we do not realize the things that we create. So one of these courses was for 3 days, like, I don't know, from say 9:30 to 5:30 every day. And when I tell you about the tension, when we have tension, we I would say we create, but some people may be comfortable. We either create or we attract experiences that are going to tell us, that are going to reaffirm the beliefs that we have. Yeah?
Yes.
So a lot of us will relate to feeling unworthy, or undeserving. So what did I do? These 3-day courses, the afternoon on the first day of that course, I get a call from the nursery to tell me that he was what, 2 then, my 2-year-old or my 3-year-old, like, had a really high temperature. I had to come and get him. So I had to leave. So I left the day one or in the afternoon of that course. And I remember one of the facilitators saying to me, "Can you not stay?" And I'm like, "No, I really should go," So, but I was committed. Something was telling me I need this. Like, I need this in my life. So I got my son. I tended to him. Fortunately, I think it was either my mother or my mother-in-law was coming that weekend. So I'm like, great. I have, the mothers, to look after them. So I will go the next day.
Right.
So the next day I did to that course. It wasn't easy, but something was telling me I have to go. So I went, learned what I had to learn. And then the conversation became about, from one of the family members, that's like, "But what are you doing? Your son is ill. Why are you stepping out, going on this course? You should be at home with him." You see? So this is like, already I'm feeling guilty. And then I'm creating the other people are telling me the reason why I should not be selfish. I should be a mother and stay at home with my son. But somehow, to this day, I don't know how, but obviously it was what I needed. Somehow I still managed to, I was like, no, I'm going to do this. So I finished the whole 3 days.
Right.
And then dealt with fallout. The fallout being, the judgment. It's like, but how can you do this? This is not responsible. All kinds of, if you like, around the thing about, what kind of responsible mother would do that. And you see, this is the thing. This is the thing that not only as humans, as men and women, do we have to deal with when we are doing something that we want, being told that we're selfish.
Yes.
But expanding on that, for mothers specifically, it has become like the mantra, well, I'll say the mantra or the conditioning that actually the more selfless a mother is, the better a mother she is. Like, it's almost that we are revered or celebrated for being martyrs.
Right.
And that is so, it's not something, it's not new, but for me, it was like, finding out about, being selfish, but how can I be selfish? And it's like, no, you must be selfish because I am looking after a number of people. And so me learning that, then what I would encourage others, and I teach, and I still say it now, is the more people you are responsible for, you have to look after, you have to take care of, that is the same extent, if to not more, that you have to look after yourself. Because when well, I don't know how many people are flying these days, but when you board a flight and they do the healthy safety instructions, and they tell you if there's turbulence or if there's any issue, you'll have the face mask that drops from the ceiling. And what they tell you to do, they tell you to put your own oxygen mask on first.
Yes.
They tell you to do that first, and it's like, it's so obvious when they explain it there, but we don't know how to apply that to our own lives. Why do we have to put our oxygen mask on first? Because if I put my oxygen mask on my children first, they're fine. For how long? But if I die, then how are they going to survive?
Exactly.
So it's like, no, and like coming back to what you were saying, it's like, no, we have to, if we really care about, if you like, the people around us, we have to make sure we put ourselves in a position where we are the best that we can be, so they always have that support and care and love.
Right. How are you going to give of yourself when you have nothing? You are spent. You have no energy. You have no drive. You have no convictions, and you're going to encourage who to do what.
Right. Exactly. But this is what we learn. This is not what we learn or are taught or we see. It's back to front. It's like, no, don't be selfish. Yes, you must help other people. And I absolutely agree. Yes, we are human beings. We're not really meant to be isolated. We are all here to be of service in some capacity. It could be to one people, it could be 1,000 people, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, you must help. But like you say, what do they say? It's like how can you pour from an empty cup?
Yeah.
You must replenish yourself before you can be of service.
Yeah.
But
and here it is.
For so many,
I'm sorry. Someone just commented in the stew pots and said, what kind of example would you be setting for your children if you're not going to be the person you were created to be?
Exactly.
And
absolutely 100.
Yeah.
But we don't get taught.
No.
We do. I would say we don't get taught that. It's not something that we get taught. When I say, I'm talking generically. Of course, there are people who have come into this knowledge very early on and they teach their children fine. But when I was coming up and, a lot of my friends, my peers, and lots of other people, I mean, the whole personal development world is kind of, it's not a new concept. Is that, no. Yes, you must help other people. And I focus on mothers because that is my focus. It's my experience, and I know that it's something that, even though I say I focus on mothers, it does also speak to the maternal nature, the caring nature of, our men, the fathers. Because there's a feminine as opposed to the women, and it's a feminine energy. And it just comes back to what I was saying. So the more people you serve, you look after, you're responsible for, the more you have to look after yourself to make sure that you can do that in the best possible way.
Right.
And when you're coming to this realization, you will create a lot of tension. And that's and when I say tension or resistance, it's either you feeling guilty yourself or creating other people around you that will tell you that you're being selfish, you're being irresponsible, you're being neglectful, all of this stuff, it will happen.
Yes.
And that is just you working through your probably long-held, childhood beliefs that this is the way that the world works, and you're not allowed to have what it is that you want. I often used to say that it's like when you're looking after people, if as a mother you're looking after people, it's like, if you're lucky, you will be last on your list. That's even if you make it onto your own list. Like you saw everybody, you saw everybody else out first, and then if there's time, maybe you can sit down or maybe you can do this or whatever. And I know that is true for both men and women. But like I said, as my focus is the mothers, because we are raised to be that way. We are raised to be the supporter. We have things to confirm, like the Bible, that we are the supporter, we are the helper, and so that can be taken to the extreme where help and support people at any cost. Don't worry about yourself. To be really blank, direct.
Right. But some of the great people in history were actually women. They're just not focused on. You might hear 1 and 2 being mentioned, but some of the most influential and powerful and successful individuals, the game changers, the rule breakers and recreators have been women.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And yes, we don't get celebrated enough. But I'll come back to why that's really on us in a certain way, because like I said, we create our own reality,
Right.
And I mean, there's a lot in that. What is it? They have that saying, don't they? Behind every successful man is a woman, or is a successful woman.
Well, in more recent times, there have been modifications to that. Behind every successful man is a more successful woman, or behind every great man is a greater woman or something. There have been modifications to that in more recent times, and I say rightly so. I am the man that I am today because of women in my life. Specifically, first off, being my mother. May her soul rest in peace, because she laid a foundation that is just solid. She laid a foundation of love that I it is only in recent times, with really looking into who I am and what I'm supposed to do, and looking at where I have come from and come through, that I have realized the kind of foundation that my mother laid. One of the things that she said was, let go and let God. Let things be. I you and I are so similar. It's interesting. I started playing music at age 10 in the Salvation Army.
All right.
And so, with playing brass in Jamaica, I really went pretty much all over the country playing music. And there are things that my mother taught me along the way, and how she was, and my grandmother also. And so in my house, there was my mother, my grandmother, my sister, me, and there was my uncle, who was also there, but he was out more often than being in. But in the house all the time were these 4 women, and I'm the youngest.
Okay.
So when I look at women differently from most other men, and I have learned so much from women, and a man being aware of his feminine side does not make him weaker. It actually makes him stronger, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Because here it is, you have the foundation of any community. The backbone of any community, you name that community, you find the woman. And I take nothing back when I say that.
Good.
If anybody wants to dispute it, they can. 773-789-STEW, you can call me. 773-789-7839. Call, text, WhatsApp, whatever you choose. I'm right here. Jump in the stew pot on kevinstew.com. I'm here. Angela is there. And Angela got my back.
I do. That's how we do.
Yes. The future president of Ghana got my back.
I would add to what you're saying. So in Ghana, in one of our tribes, we have a saying. It's educate a man, you educate an individual. You educate a woman, and you educate a nation or a generation. And I want to see how I want to say this. Basically, it's like in this day and age that we're living in, when so much focus is put on one issue or one group of people, it gets people's backs up, right?
Yeah.
Like, look at Black Lives Matter right now and everything that's happening with that, right? So the same with women. We recognize, and that's why I usually talk about mothers as opposed to women, because we think that mothers is just one of our roles, but I actually think it's the opposite. I think we're all actually in a bubble where that is our energy. That is it's more than the process, if you like, of giving birth. It is the energy of nurturing, of nourishing, of sustaining, of supporting. All of that are placed in the mother bubble, if you like. And like you said, men, the more that men can embrace that side of them, the feminine side of them, yes, of course it empowers them, because when you reject that, you're rejecting yourself. So you're actually weakening yourself,
Right.
But you see, where you have these extreme divides, okay, so women or mothers, the more selfless you are, the better a mother are you. For men, it's like, the more feminine you are, it's like the less of a man you are. That's what you're told,
Right.
you know? And it's like that everything needs, you need balance, you need harmony, And so now our roles are completely messed up. We've forgotten who we are as humans, and I would say the role of men has been messed up, or it's not quite as it should be, and the role of women the same. And what you were saying about how your mother laid the foundation for you, absolutely, because before a child can even say the word school or education or step foot into one, that child has been educated by his or her mother.
Mother. Yep.
Yeah. And so it's like as the first educators, we, if you like, we are educating humanity, and which is has its ups and downs, because for instance, if you are a mother and all you know and have been raised in is maybe poverty, and or in a space where you believe that you are just the mother or just the supporter, the helper, you are only there to help other people do what they want to do and not what you want to do, that gets passed down. That gets passed down, and it can have the effect of narrowing or limiting somebody's ability to see that they are powerful.
Mm.
So sorry, go ahead.
No, finish your point.
Yeah, no. So when we or why we talk about so much about the women, and me talking about rubbing people's back up the wrong way, especially men, because there is in my personal experience speaking to people and in my culture, this thing that some men will say, I guess those that are kind of disconnected to the role of their mother in their lives, but they will say that, but women, like, why are we always looking for attention? Why are we looking to make ourselves bigger than we are, more important than we are? I've had that said to me, and I've heard that in conversations. And it's
really?
Like, oh, absolutely. It's like, oh, but why are you claiming special attention? You've got all these women's groups, these networks and everything. You're claiming equality, or equity. It's like, what, you want a free pass in life? This is real. Some men actually talk like this. And
because it's a man's world. What do you mean?
Yeah, and so that's a whole other thing. I'll say, yeah, we've got to this point because as mothers, we have forgotten, as women, we have forgotten our divine calling. Like, men are supposed to be men and women are supposed to be women. And yes, we have both masculine and feminine energy. But something has happened somewhere where, with the women, we have basically taken a back seat. Because it's like you said, this saying about, behind every great man, you said there's modification. It's like, why does it have to be behind? Why is it not beside? Why is it not in front? Why is it, do you understand? Mm-hmm. So, for me, where we've lost our way is when we forgot that woman was not created to do everything a man could do. She was created to do everything that he could not.
Mm. Yeah.
So, in other words, as women, we have a distinct role. As men, we have a distinct role. They are supposed to be complementary
to each other. Yeah.
Exactly. But we live in a world now where, fair enough, I would say, because any oppressed people, be it Africans being black people or being women, any oppressed group will get to a stage where it's like, well, if people are going to push me down, I must prove myself. I will show that I can do the same as
and push harder. Yeah.
And then it becomes some competition. It's like, no, but that was not our natural way. It's like, yeah, you do you, and this is you over here. I'll do me. This is me over here. And when we do that, we're good. Everybody gets done what they need to get done, and we thrive. But now it's like, what is the saying? Dog eat dog. It's competitive.
Which leads me to two things. One, with looking to lead a nation, and not just any nation, but to lead a nation in Africa.
Yeah.
When it is pretty much deemed to be quite masculine in the leadership roles. However, people refer to Africa as the motherland. So it's not like they don't recognize the feminine nature of the cradle of civilization. But also, before touching on that, to touch on the Power to Our Mothers Foundation.
Sure. So let's see, which way around do I do this? I'll do it the other way because before the foundation was set up, the path was how to empower our mothers and the motherland. So it's key that you said that. It's true. We talk about Mother Ghana. Our homeland is usually our motherland.
Right.
But the motherland in the biggest sense, is the continent of Africa. But we refer to our homeland. Well, we do say Mother Ghana, and I'm sure other countries, they will say the same. So, absolutely, not only in Ghana or in Africa is leadership, especially political leadership, dominated by the men. The last time I saw Africa, the continent of Africa is 54, 55 independent or separate countries. And within or over the history of Africa that we know it to be today, of 54 or 55 nations, there have only ever been 9 female presidents. Not in 1 year, not at once, like over the whole course of the history of Africa. So yeah, that speaks to what you're saying about, it is very much male dominated. And yes, on the one hand, it is recognized that, yes, it's the motherland, as we speak of Mother Ghana. And the political field is something, especially in Africa, that is seen to be the domain of the men because of the stigma attached to it. It's fierce, it's dangerous, it's dirty, it's corrupt. It's like, what mother wants to get themselves, what woman wants to get themselves involved in that? And alongside that, there's the issue, I take my hat off, much kudos to all the women who are currently in and have entered into those positions because just like, it's so funny, and that's why as Black women we really relate to this, but just like, as an African, as a Black person, going into, if you like, a corporate setting of wherever we are that is predominantly white or Caucasian or European, the first thing that happens, or the thing that happens when you're entering that thing is that people question your competency.
Right.
They're like, how did you get here? What special favors did you receive to get here? Because clearly it cannot have been on your own merit or your own intelligence or your own competency. And that's what will happen. And this is back home. This is not just coming from the men. Even some of the women are thinking, who did she sleep with to get to where she is?
Right.
So you have the position where it's like really, as much as I said, there's this push to campaign and advocate and champion for women's rights and everything, it's tough because you're working against like traditions and cultures as well as the current landscape. What that says, the woman is not supposed to lead. The man is the head of the household. The man is the one that gives birth. Yes, that's what they actually say back home. If you ask some women, who is it that gives birth? They'll tell you it's the man.
Really?
And you're like, it took me a while to get my head around. I was like, yeah, that was exactly my response. So yeah, they're not meaning that it's the man that lays down and physically pushes out, a child.
Right. They're saying that the whole idea of life being started comes because of the man.
Yeah, because obviously we just came from your ribs, right?
Well, that's what we're told.
Exactly. That's what was something like that. I was intentionally flippant. No disrespect to any Christians or that believe, but that is what we're told because we weren't there, right? So we are told that. Yeah,
and I grew up in church. I grew up Christian, and so I grew up on the Bible. That is what we were told. Incidentally, the Bible was written, translated by man, and being the species, and by man being the gender.
Yes.
The male. So we're told that God is man, one, and God created man and woman from man. So that's what we're told.
Yeah. And even when you say it like that, you just think, in my head, I just think, yeah, how does man create man and woman? When even the word woman includes man.
Mm-hmm. But when I talk like this, there are people that say, Kevin, you just grasping at really straws or something. You're really pushing it. You're reaching. I've been told I'm reaching.
Exactly. Yeah, it is.
Think about it though. What am I reaching? What am I reaching towards? Am I reaching for another answer? Is that what I'm reaching for? What do you think I'm reaching for when you say I'm reaching? Come on, think about these things. Don't just think about what you're being told and leave it there. What about the other things? There are other possibilities.
There you go. Absolutely. And I'm sure as you can remember, I mean, as children, like my own children, you have your own, you know that as children, we are naturally inquisitive and curious.
Right.
I don't know what your own personal experience was, but when you start to question, especially as a child, anything in the Bible about religion, it's not really, the norm is that it's not really embraced with open arms. You used the word before, it's like, that's blasphemy.
Yeah.
So we're taught to be mute. We're taught not to question certain things.
You can question everything but the Bible.
Issue. So when they say you're reaching, sorry, say again.
You can question everything but the Bible.
Exactly. Can you imagine? And the thing is, yeah, you learned about the Bible, but who was it that taught you about the Bible? Was it not your mother?
That's where I learned it first.
But this goes back to what I was saying is about we're the first educators, and it's like it's a really, if you like, vicious cycle because from whatever point you take it, you have the Bible or whatever your faith is, because it may not necessarily be whatever your religious book is. If you indeed subscribe to one or believe in one, whatever that thing is, we forget that as children, before we ever knew God, we knew our mother.
Mm-hmm.
Because we came from our mother. It's our mother that taught, and of course, I'm not leaving out the fathers, but as I said, because we come from our mother, she's the one that nurtures and nourishes us and feeds us and all that stuff. So we're with her the majority of the time as children, as it should be.
Right.
And so she is the first, and she's the one that teaches them we know about her before we know about God. And if you really want to reach, one of my, my partner will say, the mother is God in human form, because she's the first God we know. She's the one who gives us everything as a child. That's all we know. We know if we're fortunate enough, we know our Father is there. But as fathers, they're not created. They're not equipped. They're not equipped to give us what we need. We get that from our mother. So, like I said, there is no competition. It's not because the father's faulty. That's not his role. So it's like, okay, mum does that. Cool.
Yeah.
So coming back to what you're saying, yes, we learned this from our mother, and within God, we're supposed to be created in His image, man and woman, but yet we still refer to God as a man. Well, collectively, I think generally we still refer to God as a He. And so there are many powerful symbols, influences, traditions, cultures, all these things that tell us that women are not the leaders, that men are the leaders, when actually that's not true. And it's not because we want to bring down our men, unseat them, undermine them. No, It's just we have different roles. I'm not sure if you ever watched the film Avatar.
Yeah.
Did you watch that film?
Yes.
I just remember that. The family, the leaders of the Nazi people, I think it was. You did have the father, who was kind of the leader of of their people, but the mother, who was she? She was the spiritual leader.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we take that now. We even say that, let's say things like, if you find a good woman who prays for you or prays for the family, then you found something good,
Right.
So I was just bringing back to that thing that as a child, like, your mother is the first God that you know. Before you find out about the Creator, the Most High, she's the one in human form. She's the one that gives you everything, So, go ahead.
Now, taking all this into consideration, now with looking at going back to addressing the part of leading a nation in the great continent of Africa, male dominated, said to be a vicious place, savage, rough. Funny enough, some of those very same words are the very words that were used in the very first description of the black man in the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Or am I not surprised?
Funny enough. But in this political climate where it is deemed to be so cutthroat, so to speak, how do you manage how do you think that you're going to, or what is your plan in countering that and being seen as one with that strength? Because that's the other part of it. Women are typically seen as the weaker gender. I can't see why, because after carrying a child for 9 months and then going through childbirth and then getting up again and doing it sometimes 3, 4, 5 other times after, that's amazing to me. But for you to know as the quote unquote weaker gender, to be vying for this position of great strength and masculinity, how are you planning to navigate that? Okay,
so the two things I just have to say is, in terms of women being the weaker sex, it's all relative. Like we are wired differently. But like you said, how do we go through labor? Me myself, it was recently over the last few years. I think that I learned that when a woman is in labor, the pains that we experience, the contractions, are apparently compared to a person breaking 10 bones all at the same time.
I've never broken a bone. I've had sprains. I've never broken a bone.
Mm-hmm.
Knock on wood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I can just imagine. And that's all I can do. I can imagine.
No, exactly. But it's just to make the point that strength is relative, and yeah, if you don't feel it, you don't actually know it. But there is a lot of strength physically, probably not just seen in brawn, and the other strength is the emotional strength, because that is our core strength. They'll say that, yeah, women, we're emotional. Yes, we are. That's the way that we are wired. And we all have emotions, but women are more emotional. That's why they'll usually say that, your little girl can wrap her father around her finger because we have that emotional intelligence. That's our
right.
Yeah.
But
I just wanted to get that out of the way.
But to lead a nation, though.
Yes, I'm coming to that.
It is.
So,
go ahead.
It is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So to me, lead a nation. I'm already leading a mini nation. I am a mother of two boys. The father and I are not together anymore, but still, the father makes sure that the father still has a role in his children's life.
Right.
We have a life. I have the things that I do. What we don't realize is that, on the one hand, we realize, and we will say that, yeah, the mother, she's the one who's responsible for, or who takes care of the home. Of course, like I say, the father or the partner or a male figure may be there. In this day and age, things can be, the dynamic, how that is in each household. But usually, no, it's the mother that's seen as the one who takes care of the home, make sure that everything is operating as it should be.
Right.
And everything that starts on a small level first. And if you've seen any of my my videos or content I put out, you'll hear me say that when I'm talking to my fellow sisters and my fellow mothers in Ghana, it's like, mothers, it's time for us to take care of our homeland the same way that we do of our home. It's not different. It's just bigger. It's like scaled up on a next level, next, like 10x level. But it's not different. When there's an argument between my boys, it's like, okay, so I need to speak to them, find out what's going on over here, find out what's going on over there, somehow manage to, mediate that situation. I don't place one above the other. They are equal. One is older, of course. One is 9. The younger one is 6. Right. They are both my children. Mm-hmm. Every citizen in a country, yeah, they will have different backgrounds, but they should not feel that they should not feel that they are any less worthy because of their background. Although I know that's not the case, but I'm saying ideally, you don't want your children to feel like one is a favorite over the other. So we really try hard and make sure that each of them have, if you like, equal footing. They each deserve to be heard. Right. They each have needs that must be met. They won't be the same needs, that's fine. As the mother, I have to make sure they have whatever it is they need. And as running a nation, of course, you don't do it single-handedly. You have other people, if you like, your other family members, your trusted team, whether it's your advisors, what have you. You have other families, and as you know, at least the adage, to raise a child, it takes a village, it takes a community for one person. Exactly. And so it is the macro vision of taking care of a home with the same compassion, the understanding, the respect for everybody in that household who has a role. I'm not going there to compete with anyone. Like, everyone deserves to be heard. Usually, of course, by the very nature of politics, it's about, this one, okay, this is me, and these are my ideals, and this is what I stand for, and this is what I want to do. And then the next person will say the same thing and explain why their way is the better way, or whatever. And you think, hello, what do our children, the citizens of Ghana, what do they need? So how are we going to give it to them? How is my eldest son going to benefit if he tells me he needs something and I say to him, oh, well, your father didn't, your father was supposed to do that. He didn't do it, so let me do it. Just for the record, I never have those conversations with my children because I recognize that. But on the real, I recognize that, as parents, we forget that, when things go sour, it's got nothing to do with, like, it's not the children's fault.
Right.
And anything, absolutely anything, bad or good, that we say about the other parent, it affects the child's self-esteem.
It does affect the child, yes.
Because consciously they know that they're part of both of us. Mm-hmm. So any parent who's bad-mouthing the other parent, just know that your child is taking that on. And I don't say that judgmentally because I'm not perfect, but this is something that I learned, and I've been very conscious of. No matter what I think of people, or if I have a disagreement with the boy's father, it's like that is not something that ever gets discussed or thrown at them. That's not their business. Their business is to be children and to learn and to have fun and to have big visions. Do you understand?
Yes.
So my question, bringing it back to the country, is like, what do my children, what do the citizens of Ghana, my children, what do they need? How are we going to give it to them? And then who is going to do that? It is not going to benefit them to say, okay, so this is what you need. This is what you need. But before I give it to you, you need to tell me that, I'm the best person to give it to you. I'm not. So what I'm saying, simply put, is that, yes, I have to realize the system that is present and that I'm getting into, but I'm not going to do what is being done because that's not who I am. The focus is on what the citizens need. Anytime you badmouth somebody else, you're actually giving more of a platform or exposure to somebody else. What do they say? There's no such thing as bad publicity.
No such thing as bad publicity. Not at all.
Exactly. So why am I putting my energy in talking about other people, which has got nothing to do with what it is that I want to do for my children or the citizens? You know? And why I say that, fair enough, there isn't that energy there. It just recently got announced that so Ghana's like pretty much a bipartisan state. There are two major parties, and the opposition has just announced that the running mate, the VP, is a woman. Now, if they succeed, she would be the first VP that we've ever had, a female VP that we've ever had in Ghana. You see,
right?
So the landscape is changing. They're coming back to what you're saying.
And you're running as an independent, though.
Yes.
Right.
And I see and recognize the system for what it is, but it doesn't mean that I have to play that game.
Yes.
I don't play games. I mean, yeah, I may play games with my children.
You have fun.
But,
yeah.
It's like, it's like I will listen. I will hear everybody. But the point is, it's like, no. But what does the country need? What do the women need? What do the mothers need? And why the mothers? Because, like I said earlier, you educate a woman, you educate a nation. And as I think you said in your own way, and I said, it's like, basically, once the mother in the home is okay, everybody else does really well.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't, like, by sheer mathematics, numbers, when you empower more women, you empower many more people without effort even, because that's the ripple effect. By nature, we multiply.
Right.
Or I suppose. so it's the same thing. And as you yourself said, your mother was your foundation. Yeah, we need to rebuild our foundation. Our foundation has been depleted for, I was going to say centuries. It probably has been centuries. But speaking of Ghana celebrated its 63rd year of independence this year. Never had a female president. Yet the president that was appointed as the very first president of the republic is one who did that with the full support of all the women, or the majority of the women.
Right.
And somehow that's got lost. So just going back to what you're saying, it is, it's male dominated, it's nasty, it's this, that, the other.
But it is recognized. Sorry, it is recognized though that the woman's voice is powerful.
Are you asking or telling me?
I'm asking you.
In
Ghana, they do recognize though that the woman's voice is powerful.
Yes and no, because like I said, as I was talking about the first female VP that they've just announced, elect, if you like, announced now. So it's almost like it's okay for women to speak in certain places, but not all places. And it's like, really, is that how you see your mother? Like, you wouldn't want her to speak in various places. And that's why I always talk about mothers, because everyone has, or they had a mother,
Right.
When we specifically talk about women, there's nothing wrong about talking about women, but because I recognize what we live in now, and how the concept of women's empowerment, it's probably it's probably been, the word I want to use is, the concept is kind of, or the power of it has kind of been lost, or it's kind of transformed into, this concept of like the independent woman, which is, like I was saying before, about, I can do anything that he can do. Which quite frankly is not, to me, it's not healthy. It's not healthy, because we weren't necessarily supposed to do everything that the other sex was supposed to do, either way. And people have an issue with that, because we live in a world where we think that actually I should be able to do everything. And it's like, really? When we look at the medical advancements and innovations there have been, and you have this saying, it's like this person was playing God. It's like, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it.
Yes.
No. So the woman's voice can be seen as powerful in some spaces, but it really does, in the conversations that I've had, and I've seen, like I said, even the women themselves, like, no, don't go there. Why are you going there? Because we ourselves have been conditioned. It's like, no, leave that to the men. Oh, if you're going there, why are you going to go and compete with them? Or you're trying to undermine, undermine your man, or, this kind of conditioning. And people forget, I was thinking about this today actually, that imagine if you're in your respective country or what have you, imagine that, there's a war, and there are, wars or certain battles and things where the men go off, usually the ones that go off and fight. Who do you think is running everything when they're away?
It's not the boys.
So it's never to take away from the men, but for the mothers, the women, to stand up and say, no, actually, I don't have to apologize for being who I am supposed to be. I don't have to apologize for speaking up. And actually, the more that I am oppressed, the more or the less that you will thrive. And this is what people don't recognize. They have that saying as well, it's like happy wife, happy life. Mm-hmm. It's not by accident. Like I said, when the woman in the household is well, she's thriving, everybody else does well. It's like a no-brainer, but then it gets like I said, it triggers people's inferiorities, and I do get that especially as a black person in the diaspora, where our black men are basically told from, not just our black men, but our black men are told from many different directions that they're worthless, basically. So imagine if you carry that into a place where now it looks like, oh gosh, even your woman is trying to put you down. I would get why, our brothers would be upset, or they would feel really challenged. But we forget that no, we're a unit. We're supposed to be, okay, so you do this, and that's, So yeah, it's that complementary working, and actually, the more men who support their women, they would be better off. I remember watching some skits some years back. I forget the comedian, but they were saying that this whole feminism and women's empowerment and stuff, that could not be an idea of a black man. What a black man would hear, the wife says, honey, I'm going off to work. I wouldn't like to just sit there and yeah, okay, honey, see you later. It's like, it's not us. And there must be a way. There's many different ways to say this, but if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got.
Right.
Like, you can't do the things and expect a different outcome. It doesn't work. Like I was telling you about structure.
That's
insanity. A star. Exactly. You can't use a star-shaped cookie cutter to create moon-shaped cookies. That doesn't work.
Right. So what have you been doing already in Ghana, whether on a small scale or on a large scale, with members of the Ghanaian community?
So when I've been going back, I literally would just go speaking to people, to be in the marketplace. I've been into churches, literally talking about this message that mothers, you may be struggling, at different levels, you may be struggling or what have you, but you do have a voice, and this country is not going to thrive unless we do something to pick ourselves up, and as the majority voice, if somehow, all the women were able to come together, it's never going to happen. You never have a kind of complete thing like that, but to come together and use their voice to put more of us in political power, it can't, I shall come back to that, but if more of them are to use their voice to put more of us into political power, so that when decisions are being made, they're actually being made with the needs of the majority of the population as well as the minority in mind, then they make more sense and more people benefit. Then that's what they can do. So I'll speak to my sisters on the ground. I'm a founding member of Power to Our Mothers Foundation Africa. So through this foundation, on a large or the high level, the sole purpose of this foundation at the high level is really to restore the condition of African women, and really to help us remember the queens that we are, that we all come, I won't apologize, that we all come from greater climes, from majesty, from royalty, but just to really remember, not teach us anything new, but to remember our divine calling as the original mothers of civilization, number one. So that's empowering African women on, physically, practically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And so there are different streams to that foundation. But starting from the practical, being that as a woman, and particularly as a mother, as a mother, and you have children, the first thing that you need is you need to have a roof over your head so that you keep yourself, your family safe.
Right.
And so one part of that is actually creating, accommodating every mother, literally accommodating every mother, and we are doing this by we've secured land, which we have started. We started planting because there's empowering the mothers, the women, and there's also empowering the motherland, the actual land.
Right.
Because as of end of February this year, I think the statistics were something like, considering the whole business sector, only 1% of the business sector was dedicated to agriculture in Ghana. And it's like, wow, you have all that land. What are we doing with it? It's like we need to cultivate it so we actually grow all the food that we need instead of importing expensive food from outside not only the country, but outside the continent. You hear?
Right.
So securing the land to farm that so that we grow what we need, we eat what we grow, to provide accommodation for mothers and their families, low cost or free, and it's actually to be funded by, so there's different parts. House mothers, grow what we need so we can eat what we grow, that's nutritionally, yes, sustain us. And also to welcome home, like welcome home is to like diasporans like myself, as in to house them and enable them to be integrate and reintegrate to home, to their heritage among the locals, as opposed to being stuck in a settlement somewhere which is just made up of diasporans, like outside the continent. So they would get to be among their own people and be learning about our heritage, our local languages, that kind of thing. And, they would pay for that accommodation, but it would be owned by the foundation because the foundation is there to support and empower the mothers. But it allows them to be in a state where they don't feel like outcasts. They're accepted in as one of our own. And one of the biggest problems that is solving is the number.
Oh, geez, did I lose you again?
Homes invest.
Okay, you're back. I lost you for a quick second there.
Right. That's all right. Yeah, I was just saying that one of the biggest problems for us as diasporans who have decided that we want to go home is how we do it. And the number of stories and experiences that I've heard about those of us who have invested or tried to, source out property and things like that, and we've just been scammed, because desperation is real. Or people, some will see us like a meal ticket, because once you've left the motherland, it's like, oh, you've made it. There still is that view that, once you've left the country, it's like, you're there living it up, living life large and the rest of it. So it's to give them an opportunity to come into something authentic and not be fleeced, not be defrauded. And then the other piece, and it's still evolving because, like I said, a mother needs to consider what her children need. So the other part is also housing. One of the things that is missing is to house women and children, largely of domestic abuse, sexual abuse, or assault, things like that, because systems like they don't have the systems like we have in the UK and the rest of the West. That is like the refuges. It's not such a big thing there, but it is needed. And we have a lot the cultural issues and the traditional things, challenges there, which I'm sure we do actually have in other people. But there are a lot in that, the whole thing about either not being able to talk out to anybody, like especially as a child, not being able to tell a parent or somebody else that, you're being abused or there's this assault. This whole concept of the victim being the one to blame, it's real,
Yes.
So housing then, whether it's temporary or on a more long-term basis, but all in one place, it's like a micro. So that's to build a village, the Power to Our Mothers Foundation Africa Village, and we start with one. But the idea is to have these all over the place, not just in Ghana, but across Africa, because we need to empower our land. We think that the way to increase our finances or boost the economy is all these precious metals, jewels, and minerals and everything, oil. Keep mining them. It's like there's no coincidence, as you and I have said. It's like what we need to stop doing now. Like our land and our women have been raped and pillaged and abused for too long now. So now what do we need to do? Now we need to invest in them.
Yes.
So stop drilling, stop digging, and actually plant, like cultivate things that are going to help everybody in the long run. So that is what we've already started doing in our own small way.
Nice.
So that is happening regardless of whether I do in fact become the first female president of Ghana. That is happening because that's been part of my mission to help other mothers. Because that country, forget that, it's not even that country. A country will not thrive if its women do not thrive. And I think it was Malcolm X that said, a nation can rise no higher than its women.
I've never actually heard that, but that is quite profound.
I'll send you a clip.
Please do.
But,
please do. I had missed that one.
Yes, I will. I mean, I heard it from when Denzel Washington did the film Malcolm X. But you'll see it. There are even other women that speak on this, and it's not, like I said, it's not competition. It just is, and we've lost our way. And since I'm on a platform where you said you're happy or your audience really reach, it's like to really reach. It's like really and truly, our country is being run by our children. Why do I say our children? Because it's mothers who give birth, as in physically give birth. So it's African mothers, particularly, we are the mothers of humanity, of civilization. That means everybody else, but especially the men, they're our children. And so it's time, like mum has to step up now. Mum has to step up now and sort everything out.
Yeah.
To rebalance things. The energy of the planet is off kilter. You only have to look at what's going on in the world. So it's telling you the same way that I got triggered to ask myself, there must be more. Like, what more? What am I supposed to be doing?
Right.
Yeah, it's time for the mothers to step up. And I know that some of us are really struggling by the conditions that we're living in, not just on the continent of Africa, may I stress, because we know that narrative that we get sold plenty of times about the poverty and the savagery and everything else, and not about, the wonderful things that are going on there and the amazing property development and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
But yeah, there are some of us that are struggling, and, some of us that will leave one area of the country, say the north, go to the city to work. They don't have anywhere to live. They're sleeping maybe on the streets with their children. And most of them, I was even shocked to find out. And then most of the women who do that, because they sell in the day and stuff, they get raped. And then you have even more children who are not looked after in the best way, because the mothers are struggling to
just to survive
for their own survival. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I was saying to you earlier about, if you come from that place, I'm not saying it's not possible, but if you come from a place where you're born into somewhere which is only existing on survival mode,
that's what you know.
But for those, that is what you know. And I'm saying this last week specifically because you will hear a lot of talk about, we need to change our mindset. Absolutely. But I challenge anybody to change their mindset when they haven't dealt with at least their basic needs. Like as humans, we have basic needs. And If you
Maslow's
don't
hierarchy
tend
of
to,
needs.
right,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't tend to at least some of them, I'm sorry, it's nigh, I won't say impossible, but nearly impossible to be able to put your vision, like have a vision to something much greater and higher and, enlightened than without that. That's why it's really important that we house mothers. We take care of some of the basic needs so they have the headspace to really like tap into their skills and everything and survive and support themselves. It's like, no, people just don't just want charity.
Right.
They just want the opportunity to be able to look after themselves. And some of us need a helping hand. So those of us who can, those of us who had opportunity, we can speak. So yeah, we go there and speak for other people. So my whole charge is not to step up for presidency as, if you like, Angela Asante-Armar. I'm just a representative for every single mother in that country. That's it.
Speaking of support, how can people connect with you to give their support?
So, brilliant question. Thank you so much. So, we have a Facebook page, which is Power to Our Mother Foundation Africa. We also have a Patreon page. So you can subscribe. You can either give a one-off pledge, or they can subscribe. I think the lowest subscription, if you want to help and build something monthly, it's like £3 a month. And that goes towards now, like really putting together what we need to cultivate the land. So, the plowing, the planting, starting to get the timber to build structures and things like that. So that is patreon.com/PPONFA, Power to Our Mothers Foundation Africa, PPONFA. They can do that. And they're the two main ways that you can find out about us and support us. And any support is graciously received. And we are doing it regardless. For me, it's not a question of if we do what we do, it's a matter of time. So it's just when, because the country needs this, and we cannot continue as we are. It's not going to end well.
Right.
Quite frankly.
Angela, I want to thank you for getting up super early to share with us. You're clear across 5 time zones, and I really appreciate the fact that you took the time out to share with us of yourself and of your vision, not for just your household, but for your house as a nation. And
thank you so much.
I will give my support however I can. What we're doing right now is a bit of my support.
Exactly. And can I just say before you finish is that because I didn't mention that what you're offering is priceless. One thing we get trapped into is thinking that the only way people can support is money. No, the most important resource we have is human resources.
Yes.
That's what's been forgotten. So I truly, truly appreciate the opportunity to be here on this platform. And if people don't want to donate money, we kind of got, I guess, giving or charity, fatigue. There are other ways people can contribute their skills. There's an initiative actually that was wanting to start, which is teaching mothers how to sew, sew their own materials so that they can turn that into a business. So if people have sewing machines they want to donate, that works. Whatever you can give, we won't turn it away. It all goes to build. Money's good, but it's not everything.
Yeah. My mother was a dressmaker. My mother and grandmother.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. It's been great, this conversation with you. Thank you so much.
I truly appreciate it and the fact that you could come out and do this. Thank you. We will be in touch. You take care of yourself. You have something coming up tomorrow, don't you? You have an event coming up. this week?
Oh, so tomorrow is, let me just think, because you're Monday, so it's my Tuesday.
It's
Sorry,
your
but thank
Tuesday
you.
already.
Wednesday, yes, yeah, exactly. So Wednesday, I host a Women in Political Leadership series on the Power to Our Mothers Foundation Africa Facebook page. And I talk to various women about politics and leadership, and specifically women in political leadership, just to get the download really of what we're thinking. Some of the women are in politics, but some also are not. It's just to give a wider perspective and have these conversations and just get everything out there, because, as we said, you know what the stigma is around politics, and we need to get to a place where, you know, our fear of entering politics is kind of dwarfed by our desire to really help our nation, you know. So that's what they're about. So the next one, I started the last one with my guest was Her Excellency Ambassador Arikana Chiambore Kwao last week. That was awesome. The next one is on Wednesday at 7:30 British, that's UK time. So for Eastern time, that's 2:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Right.
On the Power to Our Mothers Foundation Africa Facebook page. Thanks very much.
You're very welcome. I will be also sharing that on my platforms. So, thank you. You take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm about to end my Monday as you start your Tuesday.
Exactly. And thank you to all the listeners as well, your audience. Much love to you all.
Okay, great. Ladies and gentlemen, Angela Asante-Armar, future president of Ghana. We're looking for her to be the first female president of Ghana. You got my support, you have my vote. Not that I can't vote in Ghana, but you got my vote.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, you take care now, okay?
Okay.
We'll be in touch. Bye.
This one goes out to my queens, you know what I mean. Treat me like a queen, a queen. Parfait-moi comme ça, chérie. If you're gonna love me how you love me, boy, just make sure you love me right. Because I am a queen, a queen. C'est pour comprendre ça, chérie. If you're gonna love me how you love me, boy, just make sure you love me right.
For all my queens.
I'm not the kind of girl you can win in one night.
This is how I close out tonight.
Your lies, oh no, I'm not that type of girl.
Do check her out as Angela Asante-Armar.
Call 3 a.m. in the morning just because you're lonely.
Follow and look up.
Baby, you know I ain't in no rush.
Power to Our Mothers Africa.
If you can't wait, then boy, you got to go. Dealing with me, there's one thing you need to know.
There it is, that's the logo. Power to Our Mothers Foundation.
You can't wait, then boy, you got to go. Dealing with me, there's one.
Give your support whichever way you can.
You gotta treat me like a queen, a queen. Parfait-moi comme ça, chérie. If you're gonna love me how you love me, boy, just make sure you love me right.
This is how I close out. Thank you each and everyone for your support. Big ups to 2147 over there in Ghana.
Love me how you love me, boy, just make sure you love me right.
Thank you for tuning in.
I am the kind of girl that you'll wine
And everyone else in the stew pot.
Introduce me to your mama. Call me when you want.
Catch y'all tomorrow. It's Healthy Love. Well, later today now.
Physical thing, mentally, boy, you have to stimulate.
10 to midnight Eastern time right here, kevinstew.com.
Oh, baby, boy, you know I ain't in no rush. Let's take it slow. If you can't wait, then boy, you got to go. Dealing with me, there's one thing you need to know. One thing you need to know. One thing you ain't in no rush. Let's take it slow. If you can't wait, then boy, you got to go. Dealing with me, there's one thing you need to know.
Good morning, good afternoon, good day to you wherever you are in the world. From right here in South Florida, I bid you good night.
If you're gonna love me how you love me, boy, just make sure you love me right.
Greetings and salutations, one and all. You're invited to tune in to the Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It airs on Mondays with Community and Finance, Tuesdays with Healthy Love, and Wednesdays with Real Talk from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Come spend some time interacting in the stew pot where we keep things bubbling and wind down in musical therapy. The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew is on kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.